I'm also optimistic because, of course, I know that evil cannot win. Because nature abhors a vacuum. But when you take it over to the metaphysical dimension, nature abhors evil. There is nothing broken, there is nothing dead, and there is nothing, false in the creation. That only exists in one place, and that is the heart and mind of human beings. And my work has gone in, to the origins of evil and all of that, to show how this warping came about. How this particular warping came about. But that is a tiny glitch. It's like a little, eddy in the great ocean of harmony that exists in the world. Professor Tolkien spoke of it as being disharmony. He really meant it in that way. He said that there's in the great symphony of God, and all the angels were in perfect, harmony. They had a symphony of harmony. And in that harmony came the disharmony, you see, of the fallen one, whose pride and ego and dementia, came about. And it's a very good metaphor. It's absolutely a brilliant metaphor. But the universe, the natural order, does not basically, accept this kind of imbalance at all. The Egyptians understood this, and all people who studied the universe properly understand that. The farmer understands it, the horticulturist understands it, the homeopath understands it, the martial artist understands it. They understand that doesn't mean that there's not negative things happening in the world. That does not mean that there's not various levels of imperfection. But those imperfections are in the eye of the beholder. And many of those imperfections are there to teach you a higher way of being. They're not negatives. They're something that is actually there to create a higher form of existence. They're for us to negotiate. Just like the grain of sand inside the oyster, it compels the oyster to make a pearl. This is the holarchic way of thinking. This is how the martial arts understood it. Now, two people can be doing martial arts. One who's got a hierarchical thinking, and all he wants to do is beat other people up. His idea is to become, like a sort of an SAS guy, going, yeah, I'm really good at martial arts because I want to go around and kill people. I want to dominate other people. The holarchic kind of person is entirely doing exactly the same kind of martial arts, but his entire understanding of it is completely different. He's working with nature. He's working in defense because he understands that there are things that can come to attack his sovereignty. Things that are demented, warped, vampiristic, evil. And he's protecting himself. He's also learning about the flow of his own energy. He's also learning about the energy of the evil that may come to, compromise his sanctity. So look what we have here. We have the perfect diagnostician. We have a philosophy that says we are here to learn about what it is that is antithetical. We're in relationship with that thing. Just like I was talking earlier about, that's what my work is to do, is to start showing people now how they have a relationship with the things that happen in the world. It's not just a matter of us and them at all. Or some evil archy out there working autonomously, you see, in this way. We have deranged aspects of our own consciousness. We have dark emotions we don't want to look at. We're living in a culture, just before we got cut off there, I was going to say, that the person who is living totally on the surface of themselves, who is not connected to their healthy drives, who is very full of stress, like you said, anxious all the time, where do you think they run? They run straight to the man in white coat, to the pharmaceutical, to say, hey, give me the happy drug, doc. I feel bad. And I haven't the faintest idea how to deal with any of this. And I want you to, anesthetize it. Because I'm stressed, I got to go to work, I got to raise a family, I don't want to be thinking, I don't know what's happening to me here. And now we have a Leviathan that you don't have to go to it, it's coming to you, telling you, yes, take this pill, take this. And, this is where we're heading. It's very, very pernicious.
Right, and I often get asked, how can I keep looking at some of the negatory things that are going on in our world, but to me, it's like if you're going to get rid of the cancer, you got to get in there and get it all, and you got to understand it. That's right. And get it out.
Absolutely. That's the way of the shaman. They said that Horus had one black eye, dark eye, and one eye that was of light. The yin and the yang, the nagual and the tonal, the prolific and the devouring. There's no way out of it at all. You have to see reality as it is, not a person's idea of reality. And what we're dealing with now is people's ideas of reality, which are absolutely not sane whatsoever. They only want to live in a one-season world, you know. And this is, again, extremely unnatural. One can understand it, of course, because, again, the stressed-out person and the person who's been traumatized, well, they're going to be in that passive mode, just want to sit down in front of the TV, you know, or whatever, and be served in a way. So, you know, I understand it. But, you know, as they said, if you don't like knowledge, try ignorance. And unfortunately, you know, we're at this junction point now where the forces that are at work are definitely wanting to continue the enslavement process and make it even deeper. However, as Aldous Huxley and others have said, they don't mind making it a dictatorship without tears. They don't mind making it making us into smiling depressives. They don't mind giving us chains of gold to replace chains of iron. But you see, as I've always said, any kind of imprisonment, I'm not into it. I don't care what kind of imprisonment it is. All imprisonment is bad, regardless of even if it's one with lots of cushions and lots of, you know, that they bring the bowl of soup in on a silver tray. It really doesn't matter. And so what we're seeing now, the global village, you ask what is globalism? What is global village? Global village is really a chains of gold. It's really a servitude with a smile. You're quite right when you said that they don't really change much. They don't. They're just going to give us a few more cushions and a lot more pacifiers, moving right up to the point where they may even, you know, try to start plugging us into virtual realities. This is where the dark side of the technology is heading. You know, in which we may be spending much more time in cyberspace. They may introduce, you know, the chip into our brain in exactly the same way you take a drug. We may be moving into that area, you know, very soon, in which we start spending our time in alternative realities, in what we call simulacras. And that word means exactly what it sounds like, a simulation. We're not even in reality today, most people. That simulacra is just a simulated reality. And believe me, these people are quite capable of doing that. You know, all the way back to the first video games and moving up and up and up. Man is already living in a fantasy. He's quite capable of living in a fantasy, you know, in the future.